old, so to speak. And you know, that's been close to 7 years ago. And we're still a church. And we've expanded on that church. And that's what's exciting for me. You know, this is the first time in my life that I've actually loved church. And I'm almost 62 years old. And yeah, I was born and raised in it. You know, you had to get permission from Dad not to go to church. But I'll never forget these people. It started out with Susan and Brad, JP, Ann, Marie Ann, and then I got to know David and Edna and Maggie and Tom, and it just grew from there. And it was a wonderful feeling. So now, we've been a church for about 18 months, and this last election I was really excited because we had new blood on the board and it was expanding. But then I started doing what I typically do, and that's live inside my head. Well, what if this happens? Well, what if that happens? And what I was just getting antsier, and I got kind of angry inside my head, and all these what ifs were going on in my head. And then my spirit self took control of the ego and said, hey, do you remember that book that you read, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz? Oh, yeah. So what I want to do is I want to read these, and these are available. If you don't want one, you know, that's cool. But I'm going to read them to you. He is a Toltec leader, and these are some of the Toltec main ingredients of their whole religion. And I don't think that's really a religion, their whole belief system. First, be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using words to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. Number 2, don't take anything personal. Nothing others do is because of you. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you're immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. 3, don't make assumptions. Well, we all know what assumptions are. Assuming means. Find the courage to ask the questions and express what you really want. Express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. And the 4th, always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. So, I had to go back. Well, you know, growing up from a child up to my adult years, I was a very sensitive person. You may not think that now. I had one therapist friend said, Pam Burns, I cannot believe you were ever afraid of anything. But I was a terrified child. I was a terrified adult. I lived in my fears. So it's always been an ongoing battle between my ego and my spirit self. And I knew I had to deal with this that was going on right after our election. So I asked Roger if I could speak to the board. I felt like I had to say what was going on. I had to discuss my concerns. I didn't discuss it with anybody beforehand, what I was going to say. Marty didn't even know what I was doing. And she wasn't even there. But I was going to be straight up and honest with the board because I had some real concerns. It's, as Susan says, our religious PTSD. I was really battling with that. So before I spoke to them, I read the 2nd agreement. I wanted people to understand, I wanted the board to understand that what I was about to say was about me and my junk. And it was my junk. But I also noticed that we were becoming very comfortable with each other, which is a good thing. We were becoming more family, which is a good thing. But I also felt like with family, we kind of snip at each other sometimes, or we get impatient. You know, my sisters all get, and we were beginning to be sometimes a little impatient. After all, we were an upcoming UUA fellowship, and all this was a little bit bothersome to me. I thought if I was personalizing all this stuff, maybe others were having a hard time with it also. They were battling maybe the same battle that I thought. So I thought I would speak on not personalizing what other people say to you. This battle begins in our lives probably the only time in your life when you don't have choices. As a child, you don't have a choice on what language you learn. You are taught your social norms. You are taught your gender roles. You are taught from your parents and your grandparents' cultural norms. So there's not a whole lot of questioning about that until we get a little older. Some of us are a little older than others. But we live a life that we've grown up with. So with that, let me just say, we all have our trunk of junk. Okay? Some of us are really enlightened and have just a little night case. But some are like me and I have a steamer trunk that I carry along with me. Everywhere I go, I have my steamer trunk. Okay? So we have to own this. It's just part of life. But our trunk of junk causes conflict within ourselves. We can demonstrate our negative energy because we're easily drawn into arguments and we have to be right, or I have to have the last word. But you know what? We cannot remedy anything by condemning it. Let me say that again. We cannot remedy anything by condemning it. It only makes things worse. We only get in more negative energy. This causes, excuse me, may I have my water? This causes us it hurts us physically, spiritually, and emotionally. We can be offended by what others people say, or we have to put ourselves in conflicting situations. We have to remember that both sides are coming from the past. Each person's past. We can't solve any problem by condemning it. That's a fact. We cannot solve any problem by condemning it. Anything that offends you only weakens you. And this cycle continues unless we decide to rebel against it, work on it so that it no longer becomes the forefront in our lives. Do I want to be right, or do I want to be happy? That's the decision we each have to make. I choose to be happy. And it's hard. Isn't it? Isn't it hard to be happy? It is, but in order to do this, we have to first be aware of our words and our thoughts. Do you know that thoughts are the second highest level of vibrational energy on this earth? Second only to the spirit. Okay? So our thoughts, everything we think, everything we say affects someone somewhere. It's the butterfly effect. It is proven, it is demonstrated to be so. We have all remembered something in our minds and became angry about it because we were just rehashing and rehashing and rehashing, just like I was doing. But when that happens, in order to prevent this, we have to stop what we're doing, stop what we're thinking, and turn that into a positive. Because when we do that, we turn that negative energy into positive energy. And when we turn it into positive energy, we become higher vibrations. Okay, now this is the quantum physics that I don't understand fully, but I'm learning more and more about it. So what else do we do? Well, turning into a healthier lifestyle, yoga. Yoga is very, very important. That's right, Jen. That's right. Meditation. I know I talk a lot about meditation. In meditation on Tuesday nights, for a couple of times, we've used Wayne Dyer's japa meditation. And we've done that because it has, for me, I love Deepak Chopra, but learning to meditate with Deepak was a little difficult for me, for a mind that goes constantly all the time. So this really helps me, and we've used it in meditation. Some people have liked it, some people are okay with it, but it's a learning experience. Changing the things that we eat. We always talk about the things that we eat, but when we're eating more natural foods, they are of higher vibrations. If they're higher, they make us lighter. They cause us and allow us to be happier. So, I guess you're thinking, why is it important? Why do you need to tell us as a church, a group of family and friends, why do we need to know this? For the health of the world. For the health of the world. Not just us, but the health of the world. When we as individuals are able to free ourselves of what others say about us, what others do, when they complain about what we wear, what we say and think along with that, when we release that, we take a huge load off of us. It gives us freedom. It doesn't matter to me, honestly, what people think about me. And I've come a long way with that, folks, because I would cry at a drop of a hat as a child and even as an adult. There are about 30 people here today, okay? So there are going to be about 30 different opinions of this talk and of me. But none of them is me. It is your opinion of me, okay? So, of course I want everyone to take something home with them about this, learn something, but if you don't, it's not mine. What you take home is up to you, not me. And that really frees me. It frees me up from the worry, the fear, that what you might think of me. And what I said, anything. It just, anything that you think of me doesn't matter. When we are free, we are happy and in touch with our joy that resides inside of us. And we're more congenial, we're compassionate, we're giving, we're loving. All those positives that allow us to vibrate higher at higher levels. People that are more positive vibrate at higher levels. And it's not just people like the Dalai Lama or Mother Teresa. It's anybody that helps to change lives to the positive. So what does that mean? It means everything. In a book by Dr. David Hawkins called Power versus Thought, for 29 years he did research on individuals' thoughts and their actions and was able to measure their vibrations. He took people from all walks of life. His research found that 87% of humanity vibrates at the lower levels. People in war zones, individuals that live in fear, anger, grief, apathy, guilt, hatred, judgments, individuals who cannot find their joy in life vibrate at lower levels. And he found that those that had a higher vibration actually changed the overall vibrations of the world. They overrode those lower vibrations. Those who love unconditionally, that are kind, acceptance of everyone, appreciation of beauty. He wrote, one individual, listen to this, He wrote, one individual who lives and vibrates to the energy of optimism. And this is what I see our group, okay? This is the only point I pulled out. Any persons that vibrate to this level of optimism and has a willingness to be non-judgmental of others will counterbalance the negativity of 90,000 individuals who calibrate at the lower levels. You hear that? 90,000. Just one of us in this room. Hawkins reported that if there were no higher vibrations in this world, the world would implode upon itself. Additionally, if there was just one avatar who attained the level of Lord Buddha, Lord Krishna, Lord Jesus, Lord Muhammad, they could change the entire vibrational level of the world. Okay, here's Pam with all of her vibrational energy and that kind of stuff. But let's listen to this a minute. How do you feel? This is how you can believe this. How do you feel when someone comes up to you and smiles at you? How do you feel when someone does something to you for no reason? How about Tom? Thank you, Brother Tom. Those random acts of kindness. How do you feel when you receive one or do one? What does it changes your whole day, or at least that moment in time? So you see, and when people see you smiling, you know, they think, wow, that's positive energy, and it's coming to me. So just, here's the reason for the song Imagine. I love that song, and I love Jack Johnson's rendition of it because I can hear the words better than when John Lennon sings it. But if our little fellowship committed to cleaning out our trunk of junk by being more cognizant of what we say and think, to meditate and try to live the 4 agreements, just imagine what the world could be. Now I'm going to end with a quote by Wayne Dyer. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. Discussion. Reggie.
Well, you know, when I got into my yoga, really heavy, I noticed that I was changing. It's mind, body, and spirit, and I probably said it 1,000 times, but it changes the inner being in you. It makes you look at the being that you are. And I just, I agree with that. I think when you do yoga and you're in there with people that are into it, and you can feel it, it's an energy that you can't explain. And we'll sit in silence when it's done, but it's kind of a harmonic experience. So I agree with what you're saying as far as that vibration thing and the energy. You can really start to feel it when you change your way of thinking in your lifestyle. So, and it's a cool high.
Yeah. And it's free. Well, not always.
It's free.
Anybody else? Brad.
It's something we take for granted, you know, and don't realize how it affects things. It's what we're thinking. You know, never underestimate the power of positive thinking. Never underestimate the power of negative thinking.
Absolutely.
Because I think thoughts do have energy that affect, you know, outside of what you think they do. But on, you know, from a practical, realistic standpoint, everything starts with thought. You know, thought. I forgot how the Buddha put it. Thought is the the origin of everything. You know, everything you see around us, everything humans have ever done. Somebody thought of it first before they did it and created it and whatever. So it all starts with thought and you know, just what you think affects things, I think, beyond what you would believe that it does, you know, because it is an energy.
Ann?
Yeah, see if I can just talk about it. No?
No, Marty's not gonna let you get away with
Marty's not
that.
going to talk about it. Okay, I got 3 little things to say, and I'm going to try to say them quick. I'm going to say I think Pam is wonderful and smart and really good.
Thank you, Pam.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to say I went into a little dress shop Friday to get a blouse for Madison, and they had a sign on the wall that said, if you knew someone who talked to you the way you talk to yourself, how long would she be your friend?
Yes.
Okay? Touche. I'm going to say this to everyone because it's important. Watch what you say, not just what you mean, because it makes so much difference. I spend a lot of my days as a volunteer for the theater asking people to do things, okay? Mostly, 60% of the time, that's mostly, they do what I want them to do. But they do that in different ways, and it makes so much difference. And as a really clear comparison, in the same day, I had 2 business owners who both did big things and exactly what I wanted them to do, but one of them did it by saying, well, I'm not going to do this for the theater. I'm going to do this because old Annie always just keeps plugging away. And the other one said, I'm not going to do this about a cause of the theater. I'm going to do this because Ann is a force for good in the universe. And I just think that's important. And I agree. Okay? It makes so much difference. Don't ever tell people they look tired. It doesn't make them less tired. It makes them more tired. Marty.
Especially if they don't feel tired.
They do feel tired. You look tired doesn't make anyone feel better. And one more. I'm not going to talk all day. But I had a jacket that I got out of my trunk one day, and it was out of fashion, and I knew it was, but I thought maybe it looked okay. And I wore it to lunch, and I knew it was really too long for nowadays, because it was probably from the 70s. And so I wore it to lunch with Nikki and JP, and I stood up and I said, how does this look? Does this really look okay? And JP said something that JP would say, right? I can't even remember what. He said, it looks all right, you know. And Nikki said, if it were a little shorter, it would show how slim your hips are. Oh. Watch what you say. You can say anything in a nice way. It makes so much difference.
Wow.
Thank you, Ann.
Yeah.
Only reason I tell you that is because I want you to go home, go to bed, and get some rest.
You look pretty tired.
Now you feel good. Good night, Sid.
Oh, that optimism is certainly a great help. But then, as soon as you feel like you're about to, good way to get tired though is to be the opposite optimism, because it seems like the tiredness goes with that negative optimism.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, it
right.
does.
Yes, it certainly does. And then there's this all that coveting, and coveting is sort of if you're non-coveting, you're not really taking things as personally. And if you're trying to be things more non-attached to everything, that's also non-personal.
Yes, that's right.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you got to do your work, but don't want to make your work you.
That's right, that's right.
Okay.
Thank you. I used to say, It's the committee in my head that's talking and not me. I need to get rid of that committee.
Anybody else? Okay. Thank you much.
Thank you.
Randy?